Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way up to 2022 and review them. And this next episode is arguably one of my absolute favorite episodes of the Patrick Troughton era. It is an episode that I contend can be made today with the modern effects, and it is a premise and a place I wish we get to see revisited in Doctor Who in the modern series today. And I'm of course talking about The Mind Robber. I love The Mind Robber. First of all, I keep saying this, but I'm gonna say it again now. Picking up where the previous episode left off with the volcanic eruption on that Death Island and the Dominators, to the Doctor going back into the TARDIS, and the TARDIS is being buried by molten lava and cannot leave, and so the Doctor comes up with the only solution to break them out of there and take the TARDIS out of there. He uses a hardly ever used function of the TARDIS, which takes them out of the known reality and into another reality. Later in the story, we discover it to be the land of fiction. First of all, I love the idea of the land of fiction as a concept. It's another one of those, they have these bombastic concepts back in the 60s of Doctor Who, like with the Celestial Toymaker, that unfortunately they never really follow up with any other Doctor Who stories on the TV side. It's been massively expanded upon in other media, but just the idea of the land of fiction, a place where if you can think it, it exists. I love that. Give me that all day long. And it's very reminiscent of one of my other favorite TV shows of all time, Once Upon a Time, because guess what? All fairy tale creatures are real, or rather all fairy tale characters are real, and they all live in a city together. Not 100% similar to the land of fiction, but it's pretty much, you get the gist, right? You get the basic idea. Any fictional character can be real in this land of fiction, and I love the eeriness and frightful nature of the first episode of The Mind Robber, of something outside the TARDIS luring the Doctor's friends to come out, like showing Jamie images of Scotland, showing Zoe images of her home planet in the far future of the year 2000, and sort of convincing them to leave the TARDIS and go out and explore. I wonder what would have happened if the Doctor would have looked into that scanner. Would it have shown him an image of Gallifrey before we even know what Gallifrey is? Several years before even the name Gallifrey is being mentioned? Who knows? But really, that the only reason that the Doctor had to leave the TARDIS, which he eventually didn't, was to go and find his friends, the Jamie and Zoe. And I love, and again, this is a black and white episode, so I love the way they used color to their advantage in this episode, giving Jamie and Zoe black clothes, so when they go out and they have their minds taken over by the creatures living in the land of fiction, their clothes change to being all white. I love that. It's a very clever visual cue to let you know that these are not the same characters, or rather that these characters are not in the same state of mind that they normally are. I love the design of the white robots outside the TARDIS in that moment. I love the way the Doctor drags them both finds a way to pull them back into reality and drag them back into the TARDIS. And what a great way to end an episode! A massive Stolen Earth / Journey's End type cliffhanger. The TARDIS explodes, shatters into several pieces. The TARDIS Council flies around, and the Doctor is somewhere detached from it. You have no idea where the characters are going. You have no idea if the TARDIS will even be the same again. And that's how they end one of the episodes. And it only goes up from there. They land in the Forest of Words, which, first of all, as a concept, what a great idea! A forest made out of words, which literally simplifies that they're on a page of a book with words in it. So they really go hard into the idea of the land of fiction being a place of fictional characters can be real. And I love how they also incorporated some real world elements, or rather the real world struggles into the story. So for those of you who don't know, the actor Fraser Hines, who plays Jamie in these episodes, had chickenpox during the filming, so they had to find a way to write him out of the episode, at least for a couple of weeks while they were filming it, so they came up with a great idea of just having him lose his face and being replaced by a completely different actor for a couple of episodes. I love that. That's genius level thinking. And it's also in the episode itself, it's done in a great way. Hamish Wilson, while he doesn't necessarily capture the proper mannerisms and he doesn't really speak Jamie, to me, in my opinion, I think he does a good enough job of portraying that role the way he might have thought Fraser Hines would have played it. I wonder if Fraser Hines was on set giving him pointers while they were filming. I don't know. I never actually looked too much into that aspect. To be honest, I only just now came up with that. But just the idea that they thought about doing that in the story, they could have just wrote him out of the story completely. They could have just said, no, he's dead, and by the end of the story, he's back again. That could have been another interesting way. They could have done it 1,000 different ways, but they did it in what I think is the best way that they could have done it. Recast him for a couple of episodes and still have the character in the story itself. And I love the way they take all these different elements from different points of fiction, like the character of Lemuel Gulliver or Rapunzel. And I love the maze with Medusa in it. I love the way the unicorn is being incorporated into the story. They pull off all these crazy, outlandish concepts, and I think they do it in a really good way. I think at this point we might be a little bit remiss if we did not mention another potential elephant in the room. So the person in charge of the Land of Fiction overall, and the one manipulating all the scenarios in his favor to try and entrap the Doctor and Jamie and Zoe, is called the Master. And again, this is several years before the Master himself properly was introduced into the lore of Doctor Who. So it is not the Master that we're familiar with, it's a Master. And I think in retrospect, obviously I know that they weren't even thinking of creating a character like the Master this early on in the show's history, but it's sort of hard to escape, if you catch my meaning. It's kind of inescapable. You hear them talk about the Master, you hear the Doctor and Jamie and Zoe talk about the Master, and you sort of start to wonder, are they talking about the Master? Obviously, then later it's revealed that they aren't, but for someone who's already watched all of classic Doctor Who several times over, it's a little jarring. I'm not gonna lie. It sort of takes you out of it, hearing them talking about the Master. But it's great to see the second Doctor mentioning the Master by name. But I mean, obviously he's talking about a different Master. But once they actually find the Master of sorts, who is wearing a sort of thing on his head, which could maybe indicate that possibly, or at least at some point, some people might have thought that that character was the meddling monk. I would have loved if the meddling monk was involved in the Land of Fiction at some point or another. Turns out it's some lesser-known author who wrote some novels or some comic books at one point, and was for some reason chosen to be the master of the Land of Fiction. Who knows? But it's sort of, again, it reminds me of Once Upon a Time, where this random dude just became the author of everything. So that's a bit random, it's a bit out of place, but you know what? It works for the story itself. And he does manage to be a bit of a menacing figure to the Doctor and friends, so there really isn't much I can complain about that. I love the sort of battle of the minds between the Doctor and the not Master, where they keep bringing up these different characters from different fictional universes to fight one another. I do think that the Doctor falling for the trap of going inside the TARDIS, which then reveals to be a trap or a jar or whatever, yeah, that was kind of weak. Like, come on, Doctor, you should know better than that. You're smarter than this, but whatever. It's a minor nitpick in an episode that I absolutely adore and love, and have spent at least more than 10 minutes talking about by this point. I think that the Land of Fiction could work well today in the modern context. Some people are speculating that they're bringing back the Celestial Toymaker in the 60th anniversary special. If that is indeed the case, could we see the return of the Land of Fiction? I guess only time will tell. And I know that they did a storyline with the 6th Doctor, Zoe and Jamie on Big Finish. I've listened to that already. I love it. It's one of my favorite Big Finish trilogies that they've ever done. And I think in some ways that episode even rivals this one. But of course, it has the added advantage of being another Cyberman story. Spoilers for that one, but it's really good. I like that. I love that some people are still thinking in the direction of bringing back the Land of Fiction. I just wish they do that more on the TV side of things. But with Russell T Davies at the helm, who knows? Only time will tell. So yeah, the TARDIS is being reassembled by the end again, and that leads directly into the next episode, the 8th-part invasion. But that is a story for another video, so I'll wrap up this video and see you in the next one. So always remember, guys and gals, read books. They might save your life one day. Goodbye. Hi there. Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.